Hi, I'm your District 3 Commissioner, Kevin Van Ostenbridge. You may have heard that Manatee County is restoring oyster habitats, and by doing so, is improving water quality in local waterways, supporting our local shellfish industry, and enhancing wildlife habitat. Here's Manatee County's Natural Resources team to tell you more about our oyster shell recycling program.
Have you ever wondered what goes into oyster restoration? One important component of restoring oyster habitat is collecting oyster shell. But where does that shell come from? In Manatee County, our Natural Resources Department oversees the Oyster Shell Recycling Program. As part of that program, we work with local restaurants and WastePro USA to collect discarded oyster half shells, which are then recycled and turned into oyster restoration projects. Thanks to partnerships with 8 participating restaurants, Manatee County Natural Resources recycled approximately 30 tons of oyster shell last year, and we are on track to exceed that volume for 2024.
Through the Oyster Shell Recycling Program, we collect oyster half shells that would otherwise end up in our landfill. We then recycle those shells to create the surface upon which to build our oyster restoration projects.
Once the shell leaves your plate at the restaurant, it is stored in oyster recycling bins rather than tossed out in the garbage. There, the shell awaits collection by WastePro, who then delivers the shell to Manatee County's Geraldson Farm, where it's stored outside to cure for a minimum of 6 months to prevent the potential spread of harmful bacteria. After the curing process is complete, volunteers work to prepare the shell for deployment in one of our habitat restoration projects. This may include bagging the shell, creating vertical oyster gardens, or assembling oyster anchors. Through this restoration journey, from restaurants sourcing farm-raised oysters and delivering them to your dinner plate, to recycling the shells into oyster habitat projects, Manatee County is doing our part to restore oyster populations.